says we're back on board with the circuit here at Pyra. Here's the race leaders. Oh, there are all sorts of problems.
Oh, big carnage. Oh, straight to the barriers. And through the smoke we come.
What a crash!
Hi and welcome to Retro Motorsport. This week it's beaches, babes, Formula 5000s and a bit of karting thrown in for good measure. Let's head to Mansfield and Ruapuna in 2008 for the Tasman revival meeting and those thunderingly awesome Formula 5000s.
The MG Classic meeting was the first round of the MSC Formula 5000 Revival Series, and the revival continued with the legendary Ken Smith.
These are real motor cars. I have never driven anything more exciting than one of these. They've got plenty of horsepower, and they sit on top of the ground, even though they've got a reasonable grip for what they are, where the late model cars are just like skateboards, and you've got to work on them to get them. You can drive one of these that's not handling right and still do the same time if you drive the ring out of it.
So fun to drive.
Oh, unbelievable. Best thing you'd ever want to drive. Every time you come out of a corner, you just get the car just lifts, like it really gets itself down and goes, and you know it's got 500 plus horsepower. But saying that, when you come to brake, they still brake late. They'll pull up good, and the tyres, you don't have to keep buying tyres, and the tyres will do 5 or 6 race meetings, and they've still got good grip. You can start throttling this thing up halfway around the corner. It's got such a big long travel, about that far in the throttle instead of a short travel, to give you the chance to put it down and then tip it to the floor, because if you had a short throttle, you'd tip it round, she'd spin around on you. There's 14 or 15 cars here today, and I know there's 25 of them in this country, and they'll all get together. And there's some good series racing coming up. We've got Ruapuna at the Lady Wigram for the Toyotas, so I'm driving both that day. So it'll be crazy jumping back in a little car after that, even though the little cars are quick. I couldn't think of a better thing I want to do than drive one of these.
In the early days, I raced karts at the age of about 9 and went through and won some championships with that, and then went to Formula Fords and raced in the South Island Championships and won a few of those. And then after that, we raced in the national rounds with the budget we had, which we couldn't do the whole lot. But it was a lot of fun. It's a 1974 McRae GM1, and it's chassis number 9. Beautiful car, very rigid, high chassis in them, and a beautiful, strong engine. And we've just, Alistair Hay, the owner of the car, purchased it about 6 months ago, and we've been preparing and getting organised for the last 3 or 4 weeks of prepping the car and getting it all ready for the first meeting, so here we are. We had good pace when we were testing and things. I've done a lot of testing and setups on some other Formula 5000s when I was doing private training, so I have had a wee bit of experience, but this is my first 2 races in a Formula 5000, and it's very hairy and very exciting and exhilarating. Just phenomenal. Words can't describe what they're like on full throttle. The cars are so light, and the torque is the main thing we all say is how incredible they are just every time you put your foot full throttle, which is a very long throttle, but they're incredible, absolutely incredible. And to be running with Kenny is just a privilege in its own. We're very honoured to be driving the cars, and they're all very lucky to be custodians of the cars.
Back again for another go on the Formula 5000, John McKinley.
Car's a very early March. It's a 73 March. It's one of the few left running in the world, and powered by quite a rare engine, an Oldsmobile V8, about 4.8 litres. There's only 2, I think, in New Zealand running without Chevrolet power, and that's this and a Ford-powered 5000. They're very forgiving for a novice like me, and you don't kind of need the same skill level as you do on a Pacific car that I came from, because there's so much engine torque, and the handling's been developed, so tyres have been developed, so it's a lot of fun. I think now there's 27 in the country, and we've got a really strong representation today of about 17. So very pleasing, because we've got quite an event heading forward with the Australians coming over and the boys from the UK coming down, and us going to Australia for the Trans-Tasman Revival Series. So quite a story to tell with these old cars.
Well, if the big cars were satisfied with the muscle cars and the super sedans, they absolutely love the Formula 5000s. And it was great to see the legend Ken Smith back behind the wheel of a car that he won the 1976 New Zealand Grand Prix in, well, not the actual car. In the early racing, though, there was one man that was at the head of the fares, and that was Chris Hyde in the McRae GM1. checkered flag comes out, and it is Canterbury's Chris Hyde that takes the win from a hard-charging Kenny Smith in second place. There were a few casualties, but the good news was most of the cars would come back to the pits and face the starter and the huge crowds here at Mansfield for the final race of the day. 15 cars, and on pole position it is Chris Hyde. Alongside of him, the legend Ken Smith. Second row back, Sefton Gibb, and also Tony Richards there, number 23, the Lola T332, the black car. But it's the legend, 50 years of continuous motorsport, and he is back where he loves to be, behind the wheel of a Formula 5000 car. And what a car it is. Ken Smith in the front, Hyde chasing in second place. Then it's Sefton Gibb in the Lola T332. But it's the 430 of Smith in the front. The car is owned by David Abbott, and what a history, and we'll get to that very shortly. Watch for the move now coming from Chris Hyde. First real season in Formula 5000s, or you heard him say in the interview he's done a little bit of track testing when he was working for the Canterbury Racing School at Powerbuilt Tools Ruapuna. There is the man that's leading the race's owner, and that is David Abbott. He's back in about 6th or 7th place at the moment. 51 in there behind him, and that's Aaron Burson in the McRae GM1. There is Stuart Lush, a champion 2 years ago. Now, no Ian Clements, unfortunately. Ian is the defending Formula 5000 champion, but we have got the legend himself there. Now, you'll notice on the number 4 car, it says Paulette on the side cover. Now, that is to denote that is Teddy Paulette's car, and the car is in the VDS team colours, as you'll see with David Abbott's car as well. This is the same car that Warwick Brown won the Australian Grand Prix in 1977. There is number 51, Aaron Burson, in the GM1 McRae. Oh, and going onto the grass and onto the gravel is Ken Smith, and that's the opening that Hyde was looking for. Well, you know, with Ken Smith, you're going to get an honest driving effort, and it doesn't get more honest than that. And I can tell you, he had his boot hard up it all the way. Never scared of any race car, be it a Telstar, a Formula Ford, a Formula Atlantic, or a Pacific, and certainly a Formula 5000. Smithy goes back into second. Hyde leads it. Sefton Gibb in third place on the Lola T332. Then it is Stu Lush from Auckland in the McRae GM1. There is Tony Richards, number 23, and in behind him it is car number 25, and that's Stan Redmond in another Lola T332. By far the most popular of the cars, David Abbott there in car number 3, and that is the T430. There's only ever 3 of those made, and 2 of them are here in New Zealand, and both of those cars owned by the VDS team out of Belgium. And you probably heard in the press that when they rebuilt the car that Ken Smith is driving, the man that crashed it and snapped it in two, Alan Hamilton, was here for the blessing, if you like, to see that car back on 4 wheels again. This is Frank Carl, number 19, the RFX V8, not essentially a Formula 5000 revival car, and he gets to have a go in the field anyway. Back to the front of the field, Hyde leads it. Look at Smith, tenacious as ever. He's like a bulldog, he's just never satisfied, is Ken Smith. Sitting right up under the rear wing of Chris Hyde as they work their way down the short chute here at Mansfield, the Denny Holmes Straight. Hyde leads it, the son of Avon Hyde. Ken Smith, well, he is a living legend. 66 years of age now, 50 years of continuous motorsport. Right up behind him, it is Stan Redmond chasing Tony Richards. Then it's Frank Carl. Then it is David Abbott, number 3. This battle getting a little bit heated now. There is Redmond in the 25 car, just up ahead of him in another Lola T332. That is Tony Richards, Sefton Gibb and Stu Lush getting a little bit closer. As we go back to this battle for 4th and 5th, meantime at the front of the field, Kenny Smith just starting to hound Chris Hyde a little bit here. They work their way through the infield S's. Interesting to note that the fastest lap times here at Mansfield is actually set by a GT3 Porsche, set by gentleman Jim Richards way back when. But these cars are the second fastest. Now, to put this into context, these cars were at the top of their game in the early to mid-70s. The only car that comes close to their times in latter day times are the Toyota Racing Series cars, but they lap round here in 65 seconds. The lap record is held by one Graham Lawrence back in 1976 at 61.8 seconds. Now, I can tell you that Kenny Smith, Chris Hyde are all lapping around here in the low 62, so if you think they're soft pedaling, well, they are not. Now, is this where the race is going to change complexions? They work up onto some lap traffic here. There is the battle for 3rd and 4th. Sefton Gibb and Stu Lush going at it like there's no tomorrow. But look at this battle at the front of the field. Well, we haven't seen this since the likes of Tony Roberts and Murray Sinclair got very close at Mansfield a few seasons ago in the early days of the MSC F5000 Tasman Cup Revival Series. It has really taken on new importance. Of course, they'll go to the Lady Wigram Trophy in Christchurch. They'll come back to Pukekohe for the historic meeting. The rumours are maybe 27 cars, Australian and English cars, will join this field of 15. And if the racing's anything like this, we are in for some sort of a show. This is the battle for 4th and 5th. Richards, number 23. The Lola T332, right in behind him, Stan Redmond, F25, and another Lola T332. That is Stan Redmond. Leaders come onto the front straight again. Hyde under intense pressure now from Ken Smith. Well, the battle for 4th and 5th has been decided. In fact, that's not it. That's number 14 out there. That's Russell Greer and the ex-Murray Sinclair Lola T332. There is David Abbott, and some problems here for number 51, Aaron Burson, the McRae GM1. He pulls off onto the infield as they go through Higgins. So he is in a little bit of bother. There is number 39, and this is Kerry McIntosh in the big FM2, and he's about to feel the hot breath of the leaders on his shoulder. Hyde still leads it through the infield S's. Smithy gets a little bit closer, leaves his braking way late, tries to snuggle up under the big rear wing of the car in front of him. Graham McRae, designed and built GM1. And the good news is Cassius McRae is normally at these meetings watching and talking to various people that remember his deeds from many moons ago, including being Rookie of the Year at the Indianapolis 500. Here is Tony Richards, number 23. Now he's currently sitting in 4th place. Back to the front of the field and down across the stripe they go once again. It is Hyde leading. He just seems to have a little bit of a horsepower edge over Ken Smith at the moment. There is number 35. This is John McKinley in the March, as he told you. Oldsmobile V8 powered. Meantime, infield S's, and the race gets a little bit tighter again. Kenny Smith closes up the gap on Chris Hyde. Well, Hyde will know he's been worked over here by the master. Amazing that Ken's mum and sister still comes and watches him race regularly all around the tracks in New Zealand. He'll race the Lady Wigram, he'll race in the Toyota Racing Series, and he'll race one of these cars as well. And I'm sure if you asked him, he'd say his preference would be the Formula 5000. So Stuart Lush still in behind Sefton Gibb. Then it is Tony Richards. That is the first 4 of them through. This is what's happening at the front of the field, though, and the laps are winding down here. Kenny Smith's got to regather for another attack, but it is Chris Hyde doing the job at the front of the field. You heard him say he's run Formula Fords in New Zealand. He's done a bit of time in these cars at the Canterbury Racing School. Sefton Gibb comes across the line in 3rd. Good battle for 4th and 5th. Stu Lush is in it. So too Tony Richards. McRae GM1 versus Lola T332. Now Smith's right on Chris Hyde as they run down towards the checkered flag. You haven't seen racing like this in a long time at Mansfield, and Chris Hyde sees the flag first, and he makes it a pretty good day here at Mansfield. First time in the car, he wins from the veteran Ken Smith. 3rd place is Sefton Gibb, and in 4th place it's Tony Richards.
We've had 3 very successful races this weekend. Just a good start. Perfect weather. Excellent for the MG Car Club of Wellington to have us here. Very grateful. I think the crowd were pleased, and some just awesome racing with Chris Hyde and Ken Smith going at it like they did in the old days.
The fabulous thunder of the classic Formula 5000s return to Ruapuna with a huge lineup of cars for the second round of the Tasman Revival Series. While some of these historic cars are almost priceless, you wouldn't think so watching the drivers hurl them around the race circuits around New Zealand. Names like Begg, McRae, Lola McLaren and March stir up the memories of a golden age of New Zealand motorsport. It's the MSC Tasman Revival Series for 07-08. He's the doyen of New Zealand motorsport, and what better way to celebrate 50 years of motor racing for New Zealand Grand Prix winner Kenny Smith than to reunite with his beloved Formula 5000s.
Kenny Smith, you're in your 50th season of motor racing. You get back into these Formula 5000 cars and you've got a big smile on your face. What is it all about?
Oh, the magic. There's just, you can't explain until you've driven one just what they're like. They've got plenty of grunt and they move all over the road, and they're a big beast, but I tell you what, they're drivable and controllable.
You enjoying your time back behind the wheel of these cars? I mean, you spent a lot of years in these cars over the years around the Pacific.
Yep, no, I am. This has been a thrill getting in that. I mean, the last meeting at Mansfield was brilliant, having a good dice with Chris, and unfortunately we're a little bit outpaced here a little bit because we're karting
like 100 kgs of weight more than most of these other cars, and that's killing it on this sort of circuit.
Good to see the young guys like Chris and that coming into the field instead of keeping you guys honest.
Yeah, no, he's going good. With the little amount of experience he's got, he's driving brilliant. He's going very good. And good to drive with too, clean. But most of the guys, the front-running guys are. Roger, when he was up there having a go, I mean, you can rely that you're not going to get run over with him, you know.
With these cars, you go back to the 70s when they were in their heyday, older tyre technology and things like that. What progressions have been made now with the cars running in the 2000s?
Well, I think they've got a little bit more horsepower, some of them. Not all of them. I mean, I think the one we drive is probably no better than what we had when we were running in the 70s. But some of them have got that horsepower up pretty high at the moment. And the tyre combination, I don't really know whether the tyre combination would be any better. It'd probably be about the same, because it takes about the same time to burn a set of tyres out as it did in those days.
All right, and for the rest of the weekend, what are your goals, what are your aims, just to enjoy yourself?
Well, enjoy myself. I'll be buggered by the time I finish. We've got 5 races tomorrow, 3 in the Toyota and 2 in the 5000. So I just got to keep jumping from one to the other, but that's all right. We'll get there.
And with jumping from one to the other, what are the major differences between the two cars having to get out of one and there and into the other?
Well, you've got to realise you can't storm into a corner as hard, because these big things take a bit of stopping, and you've got no sequential gearbox. You're on a 5-speed. But after you've done a lap, you know, you warm-up lap, you're right, no problem.
And your favourite race car of all time?
The Lola Formula 5000, the best.
Christchurch's Chris Hyde has been the pace setter in the MSC Tasman Revival Series, driving the New Zealand design McRae GM1. Lighter than the Lolas, this 1973 car was recently imported into the country and is potentially one of the fastest historic Formula 5000s in the world.
Chris, you had a fantastic weekend at Mansfield, first time ever in these cars. What is it about these cars that makes them so special?
They're just brutal on throttle, and they've got so much horsepower, and they're bags of everything, bags of tyres, bags of grunt and bags of fun. Just, as I say, brutal under throttle, and it's just to be running against the likes of Kenny and some of these other beautiful race cars, it's just a privilege and an honour to be there for a start, let alone winning some races, which we've achieved, which is something like a dream come true.
There's a bit of rivalry out there between the McRaes and the Lolas. What's a little bit of the history around your car?
Mine is a McRae. It's a New Zealand built car, which is fantastic. I have a Kiwi car running, beautifully, lovely built car, very rigid, quite high in the chassis, light enough to be just on the limit, which is great. My car came from America. It was a Ted Wens engine in a car from the States that won a couple of old championships over there. And there's only about half a dozen of them left in the world. Most of them were destroyed, so we were quite lucky to have one in the camp, and it was the pick of all the cars that I wanted would have been this car, so I'm lucky enough to be driving it.
The major differences between, say, the McRae and maybe some of the later model Lolas?
The major differences is obviously with the style of the car, the design of them and bits and pieces. We were quite lucky because the early Formula 5000s were quite different. They didn't have so much wing. We moved up to the reasonably good wings and slicks car. They moved up to the Lola 332s, which were quite a more aerodynamic car and reasonably good under brakes. As we can see, Kenny's reasonably good under brakes, but we work on the theory of slow in, fast out, and Kenny works in a bit fast in. Sometimes he comes fast out too, but not as quick as us sometimes. So Kenny's just been unreal to race with, and Roger Williams, as you can see, he's going real quick as well. So got to keep my wits about me and have an early night tonight, and hopefully tomorrow will be great.
And it is Chris Hyde that starts out of grid position 1 with a stunning time of 1 minute 19.237. Roger Williams from grid 2, Kenny Smith from 3, Stuart Lush out of position 4. This big field of cars, up over 20 entries for the weekend, absolutely wowing the fans assembled in at the Powerbuilt Tools Raceway at Ruapuna. The field assembling behind the safety car, rolling start. There's a side of the ex-Denny Hulme McLaren Formula 1 car, the famous Yardley McLaren. An amazing collection. Some of the finest examples of Formula 5000s on the planet. So Chris Hyde starting out of position 1 alongside Roger Williams and his newly imported Lola T332, and that car is very, very quick in a straight line. Cars lining up down to the start. Listen to them as the green flag flies. Roger Williams got the initial jump, but Chris Hyde Goes through to the lead. Kenny Smith follows him through. The ex-Teddy Paulette, number 4, Lola T430. Williams just runs wide a little bit off the exit of 1. Problems there, car 21. That's Christchurch's Lindsay O'Donnell in the big FM5. He started out at grid position 12. As Chris Hyde already has a couple of car lengths up on Kenny Smith. He's trying hard to stay with him. Kenny said before this race he thought his advantage was starting on cold tyres. As O'Donnell gets back up and running in the number 21, the fabulous big FM5, built in 1973. And that was the second to last big ever built. Working their way off the infield. Stan Redman there. Another beautiful Lola T332 car with a very distinctive exhaust note. 8-into-1 exhaust system tucked up underneath the rear wing. But it's Chris Hyde continuing on his winning ways at the moment. He's certainly leading race 2. He won the first race of the weekend as Redman runs wide. And the ex-Johnny Walker, number 25, a Lola T332. Also driven by Australian Formula 5000 legend Kevin Bartlett. And you can hear that car on overrun down into turn 1. Fabulous sound. Stuart Lush applying the pressure in the number 22. Another one of the McRae GM1s, car manufactured in 1973. That car with some European background in its racing history. Stuart Lush, one of the quickest drivers on the Formula 5000 circuit. A familiar car. So Chris Hyde. This car has been tested around Ruapuna and has lapped down in the 18.4s, 1 minute 18.4, and that is blisteringly quick. As Kenny Smith runs through in second, Roger Williams, he's spun up. The number 63 Lola T332, very lucky not to get collected. One of the cars has gone off track to miss him. I think it was 23, Tony Richards, another one of the Lola T332s. Williams continues on. How lucky was he not to get collected there? Kenny Smith trying hard, drops the right rear wheel off the track, off the exit of the sweeper onto the main straight at Ruapuna. So Kenny Smith second, Stan Redman here in third. Stuart Lush fourth. So Roger Williams having problems in the second race of the weekend for the MSC Tasman Revival Series. So far to date after Mansfield in the first race of the weekend at Ruapuna, Chris Hyde with 4 wins out of 4. Car number 88. Sefton Gibb from Napier, another one of the Lola T332s. This particular car has been clocked at over 300 kilometres an hour at one of the historic meetings at Phillip Island in Australia. You can see some subtle differences between some of the cars, even the Lolas, the 332s, with some different nose profiles. A little bit less bodywork on this car as we go on board with Sefton Gibb. Listen to this. Amazing sound. 500 to 600 horsepower clash there between Stuart Lush and Stan Redman at the sweeper. Lush pulls off to the edge of the circuit. His race may be over. He's damaged the right front rim. Pulls into the pit chute, and Stuart Lush, his race is over for race 2. Let's have a look at the replay. Goes down the inside of Redman at the sweeper. Just a clash of wheels. Redman continues. Go back on board with Sefton Gibb. Fantastic sound. Sefton Gibb running 4th on the racetrack. Head of 23 Tony Richards and David Abbott, one of the main men behind this MSC Tasman Revival Series. He owns this car, the number 3 Lola T430, and the number 4 car driven by Kenny Smith. Fantastic sights, fantastic sounds. Everyone standing, watching these cars, bringing back the memories of the heydays of New Zealand motor racing. David Abbott's car has some history. It's an ex-Alan Hamilton car. It was recently found in pieces and restored by Motorsport Services and only just hit the track. Beautiful car. Car number 8, Kerry Anderson, Lola T142 from Auckland as we move on to the last lap. Another fantastic car. One of the older cars. Certainly not a lot of bodywork around that car. It just shows you how brave those drivers were in the 60s and 70s in Formula 5000. Chris Hyde works his way through the hairpin, just starting to work through some of the lap traffic now. Just up ahead was Kerry McIntosh in the big FM2. Kenny Smith comes up to lap car number 8, Kerry Anderson from Auckland. A beautiful Lola T142. Slips down the inside. Stan Redmond follows him through, and he's definitely closed the gap to Kenny Smith. Stan Redmond on a bit of a flyer here. He's just done a 1:21.1, and he's a tenth of a second quicker than Kenny Smith's fastest lap. So Stan Redmond will be enjoying this. He's keeping Kenny Smith honest. You can hear that distinctive exhaust note of Stan Redmond's car. He's got a new engine getting built for this car as the checkered flag flies for Chris Hyde. Chris Hyde takes the win in race number 2 for the MSC Tasman Revival Series at Ruapuna. Get back to Kenny Smith just on 10 seconds. Kenny Smith across the line in second. Stan Redmond closely follows behind in third. Car 51 there on the warm down lap. That's Peter Burson from Auckland. Another one of the McRae GM1s. So Chris Hyde with the win in race number 2 for the weekend for the Tasman Revival Series. Kenny Smith second, Stan Redmond third ahead of Sefton Gibb, Tony Richards fifth, and Roger Williams sixth.
19.3, a little bit better pace than yesterday. You think you got a little bit more left in it for the finale this afternoon?
Yeah, I've done an 18.4 around here in testing, but that is testing, and race pace is always different. The track's a little bit slower, but we've broken the lap record today, so by half a second, so hopefully we'll be able to pip it by about a second, but who knows what will happen.
Roll on race number 3.
Rock and roll.
Stan, you're obviously enjoying yourself running these cars. I mean, that was a great race, yourself and Kenny Smith. You know, he's a pretty good racer, and you're actually quicker than him in that one.
I think that was more good luck than good management. I think Kenny's just letting me keep behind him. It looked good for you guys on the TV.
They are fantastic cars, though, and the revival it's really working well.
Yeah, it is working actually fantastic at the moment. You know, it seems to be more cars coming out of woodwork all the time. There's about, I think there's 20 odd here today, and see the next one at Pucky's about 26. So it just keeps increasing. But the only thing is, as it increases, I go farther back down the line, and I don't like that. See, I used to be up the front. Now I'm going down to about 4th, 5th. Today was a lucky one, I think, 3rd. So I'll leave it at that, I think. I won't push my luck.
With Sunshine Surf, Bikini Babes and those Thundercats, all from Matarangi in 2007.
Welcome to Fusion Summer Thunder 2007 from the Coromandel Beach off Matarangi. I'm Tony Vicaltrin. With me I have Mackay Simmons, who for the first time will be experiencing the thrills and spills up close of Thundercat action.
So yes, not only is it my first time here with the Thundercat racing, it's also our first time here at Matarangi, and what a beautiful day it is.
Fabulous conditions here at Matarangi. Tony, let's take a look at the course.
Flat conditions today, Derek, so crew work will be essential. Crowds will be part of the action here with high tide, with the boats finishing on the beach. The races will start Le Mans style with drivers running to their boats, so there'll be action right from the start.
So 6 laps of racing in each heat. Let's have a look at the competitors.
We start off profiling Rough Rider. They're rookies this year. They're amongst a few crews that are in their first year of racing. These guys have been out on the harbour, spending time in their boat. They've been spending money on the right things like propeller development. They'll be here from the start.
Off with the start, down goes the green flag, and for the first race of the day, out into the boats they go. Over the side, rip start these little Yamaha 50 horsepower outboards, and out towards B-Boy for the first time. You couldn't get much better conditions than this. Already, Paul out there in Waikato Finance, there's the Super Dockets boat. These guys are carrying the Skype.com helmet cam for the whole racing today. Out into the back straight away, this is Tony Vercautren. Then we go back to Fujitsu heat pumps. These guys are pumping big time in the middle of that back straight away, round the top corner, and look at the way the slinger or the co-pilot's working as they come into the corner. Round into the first corner for the first time, in towards that W buoy, and off they go again. Flat conditions, this is sprint racing at its best. Round the Y buoy they go, the W buoy, and into the conditions they come. A little bit of rough water there. This is just the short, sharp chop on the beach. Out into the big stuff they go, or what there is. Flying round towards the Line 7 rescue boat in the middle of the racetrack. It's Fujitsu heat pumps coming down, followed by Yokohama tyres. You can just see Super Dockets in the background. Round comes the More FM Super Dockets boat, and out into the surf once again these guys push. Vercautren, Tony Vercautren the pilot, and Aaron Fifield the co-pilot, working hard to get up into the head of the field. Round past B-Boy, into the Line 7 back straight away they go once again. Fujitsu heat pumps hangs out over the side, up towards the W buoy, and already these guys are starting to make a mark on the field in their first season of racing. Up with the flag, 1 lap to go. That's the arm that you see the co-pilot indicating as he leans over the boat to pull it into the corner. Now for the last time, up towards the W buoy. Very shortly you'll see them hang round the right and up onto the beach. Round they come. Super Dockets in a handy position, and up over the waves goes Waikato Finance. Good shots from Super Dockets here. Hello, there's a boat split turn. Oh, push! Straight into the side, and that's hit Vercautren in the chest. That's going to slow him up. Across the line comes our leader though. Waikato Finance up there in second place, and then check out this. Oh, big problems there for More FM. Vercautren in obvious pain as the Rough Riders goes over. Up onto the beach they come. More FM will take out third place. Yokohama close in behind them. So Fujitsu take out maximum points with Waikato Finance second, the injured Vercautren and More FM in third, Yokohama 4, Plumquick will take out the 5th place. Down we go to Aaron Fifield and Super Dockets to find out exactly what's happened with Tony.
Yokohama had already spun out, so they were pointing towards Auckland basically. So as we came around the buoy, we were hugging the buoy, and obviously he didn't look to see if anybody was coming, and just gassed it on. And as we were coming around, just T-boned it basically. Which and because Tony's on the right hand side of the boat, he basically cops it all. Hopefully he can battle through the pain and we carry on with a good day.
So in we go to Heat 2, and the conditions just keep getting better here at Matarangi. Down the beach they go. Rip start the little 50 horsepower Yamahas and this variety of different Thundercats that are out there. Jungle Coffee, they get a good start. PCI Electrical on the inside of them. And then we go to a new bunch of rookies, the Team Line 7 at their home or their beach town of Matarangi. Back in behind them a little bit, Signtech as they all come pouring round the top corner. Safari Print out in first place at the moment. As we go into the back straight away, we're joined now by the pretty injured Tony Vercautren.
Yeah, just looking at the start of this race here, Derek, you mentioned yachting, and they're using the America's Cup analogy. Getting around these first buoys on days like this when it's flat is critical. You get out in front, get clean water, and you've really got an advantage over the rest of the crews.
Well, speaking of yachting, the flags would be up there for Safari Print as they push the other boat, PCI Electrical, straight out of the side of the race. And here come PCI Electrical back at him, Tony. No love lost out here on the water.
Yeah, PCI Electrical, this is about their 3rd season of racing. Safari Print, probably about their 2nd or 3rd as well. What you're seeing here is just pure boat speed and making sure that you're getting the right lines lines around the corners. PCI Electrical is a boat that's set up very well for these sort of conditions. This is where they have to pick up points.
So Safari Print with that bow trimmed right out of the water by moving the co-pilot down. You can look at the air he's trapping underneath that. Jungle Coffee round the buoy now as they come into the surf break. I would normally say a big surf break, but here at Matarangi there's nothing. Into the back straight away once again. PCI Electrical goes into the front. Safari Print just back in behind them in second place as they race under these beautiful conditions here. PCI Electrical now starts to open up a little bit of a lead there, Tony. Safari Print still hanging on to second.
Yeah, what you saw there was a bit of a lead change around the bottom buoy. You saw Safari Print probably mistime it a little bit with that wave coming around the buoy, but then you saw some real propeller dig in from PCI. So like I say, well set up for these conditions. He's got a Hobbit-like co-pilot called Perrin in the front, so they don't weigh a heck of a lot in these conditions, and that's giving them boat speed.
And I guess that's part of the deal, a Hobbit-like co-pilot. I'm going to tell him you said that as they pour the power on. Down into the beach they come now, flying this little boat across the short chop here at Matarangi, up onto the beach, and a gentleman's dawdle up between the fusion flags. So in we go to the leaderboard, and PCI this time taking out maximum points. Safari Print in 2, the new kids on the block, Line 7-3, Jungle Coffee and Laser Mark there in 5th place.
Let's have a look here. First of all, let's show the lightness. Let's lift it up. You do most of the work. Okay, get those muscles working. See how light the boat is.
It's actually not too bad.
You do it on your own?
Yeah, I could do some weightlifting. Like.
Power to weight ratio issue, okay? 50 horsepower. Doesn't necessarily sound a lot, but it's driving a very light boat, so these things take off very quickly. Yeah, and also the shape in the front. This is the one sort of, I guess, harder surface of the boat.
Yeah.
The nose cone. Look at the shaping of it.
That's to cut through the waves, is it?
Exactly.
So tell me about the air chambers down the side here, Tony.
Yeah, well, actually, there's actually 6 chambers. Okay, one here, and obviously duplicated on the other side.
Yeah.
So 4 chambers on top. But the secret to these boats, actually, the 2 chambers underneath called the hijackers.
Yep.
Okay, so there's tubes in here. When you're at maximum speed, the only things actually in the water are the propeller, right, driving the boat.
Yep.
And obviously the last 2 feet of the hijacker. So these tubes here, they're really not in the water.
Does the air pressure in them actually have anything to do with?
Absolutely. It's quite a crucial part of it for crew doing well.
Yeah.
It always depends on the conditions out there. So on a flatter day, you're going to have a different set of air pressure than on a day when there's big waves.
Cool. And this is obviously where the air goes in, and it's
absolutely. Watch your hairstyle.
Yeah.
Away we go.
I know where I can get a blow dry now.
Yeah.
Cold water, girls? I think not. The heat is on as the pilots get ready to run down the beach fire. Heat 3. Down they go this time, ready to rip start those little Yamahas. Over the side of the boat goes Mark Ross and Tahiti Dark. On the inside of him, though, Big Brett McConnell and Stacey Aiken in reaction screen print. And Tony, you've got to give it to these guys. They've run virtually everything that's going.
Yeah, clinical starts again, A from reaction screen print, but also boats that have been around, such as Quicken and Tahiti Dark. They've been around a while. Clinical starts from all 3 of those crews, and even though they've done it lots of times before, this first race is always good to get it out of the way and get that all-important start. So they want to be first over the chalk. They've got to get out in front.
So Brett McConnell and Stacey Aiken, some would call them the consummate driver and crew. They've been together for many years now, and there's no getting past them. Look at the way they just blitzing the rest of the field. Mark Ross and his co-pilot Robbie Glenn, well, these guys are going over to race in the World Championships. Look at this, down the water they come, and what can it do? What would you have to do, Tony, to take it away from these guys?
Well, they're out in front, they've got clean water. You can see the sort of murky water they're leaving behind them, making it more mogly for the other crews. But look at them, they're out in front. Nothing's really going to trip them up in these sort of conditions today once they're out in front.
Well, they're hauling it at the moment, and down comes Kerry Wood in the Quicken boat. Out in front of them, though, the fastest plumber and Steve Morrison in the boat there in Plumquick. The 0800 Plunger boys making no bones about it. These guys aren't pulling the plug. Away goes Quicken. Reaction screen print, though, lead them all round again up towards the W boy, out towards that all-important back straight away where the water's nice and flat.
Yeah, look at Quicken fighting that second and third position. All they're doing is muddying the waters up for the crews behind them. So while we see nice clean water here at the front, the crews behind, they're struggling to see at times and certainly struggling to get top speed for their boats.
Well, Stacey Aitken getting an armchair ride, as some would say, in the front of this boat. The guy's just cruising. Big Brett McConnell hanging onto the tiller arm of Reaction screen print in behind him. And notice they've got the helmet cam on as well. Down they come in towards that bottom mark once again, making sure that they know exactly where the boats are behind them. And Tony, I think this is all important as well.
Yeah, these guys are whistling Dixie up front. The other guys really, they're going to struggle to catch up with a boat crew that are performing this well in these sort of conditions.
So up to the beach they come, and once again that gentleman's dawdle up towards the Fusion finish line. Across they go. In second place will be Plum Quick Steve Morrison and Steve Frogley once again. And in third place we go to Quicken, Kerry Wood and Russell Litchwick. So into the leaderboard once again, in Reaction screen print take out maximum points. Plum Quick Steve Morrison and Steve Frogley in second, Quicken in third, then Scott Powerbase and Tahiti Dark in fifth place.
We decided we'd try and take that one out first just to take the pressure off us for the start of the day.
I think there were some battles behind you for second and third that sort of held them up, so you really had the race yourselves there.
Yeah, it gives you sort of a false, like you get a couple of guys scrapping and it slows them down, so and they end up fighting and dropping back and it makes you look like you got ridiculous speed, but I think there's actually a lot of boats that are really fast.
They held each other up.
So after the three heats, every boat is raced. Reaction screen print at the top of the leaderboard with Fujitsu up there also. Waikato Finance Safari Print and Plum Quick in fifth place. So into Heat 4 of Fusion Summer Thunder, and down the beach they go, our pilots this time. Down into the Thundercats, rip start those little 50 horsepower Yamahas, renowned for starting on the first fire up, and off they go. The Fujitsu heat pumps gets the whole shot. Right up alongside them though, Reaction screen print. They're pumping rubber at the moment. Up towards the first turn mark they go. Reaction screen print right around the outside of Fujitsu heat pumps. These guys are pumping. Look at this. Reaction screen print, Tony Vercautren, they're flying down the back straight away.
Yeah, the first 1 and 2 boats in this race, they're reinforcing their earlier good starts from the day. They're 1 and 2, once again, good clean lines. Fujitsu, their first season of racing, are proving that their first race they won wasn't all luck, but they've done the practice and they're racing there hard out against Reaction screen print, who have been clinical once again and starting well.
Well, this is the cow puncher from Tuakau, Big Brett McConnell and Stacey Aitken in the front of the boat as they pour it on down towards the W buoy. Fujitsu heat pumps pumping in behind them. Then we go back to the Shark Nose Yokohama Tyres boat as they head out towards the big Super Dockets A buoy once again. Into the back straight away they go. Fujitsu heat pumps still sitting there in second place, in behind the ever-increasing Reaction screen print out in front of them. Down the side chute they come, round the W buoy, and you can see the sand. This is how shallow it's getting here at Matarangi as they go round that A buoy and out into the big stuff once again.
Yeah, what's interesting here is boats 2 and 3, they're new crews this year. Check out www.thundercatracing.com and see how very quickly you can get into the sport and be racing against some of these top guys that have been around a number of years.
And that'll tell you how to do it, just like Stacey Aitken as he runs across the Fusion finish line in first place. Then we go to Fujitsu heat pumps in second, then Yokohama who come across the line in third place. Reaction screen print at the top of the leaderboard again, followed by Fujitsu, Yokohama Safari Print and Z Coffee featuring in fifth.
Line 7 is the second boat we're profiling today, another rookie crew with the teenagers Guy McIndoe and Scott Munro, who are still schoolboys, and they're proving that Thundercat Racing is really about all age groups. They've been out there all summer practicing their starts so they can be here to compete with the big boys today.
But what we really need, Tony, is more ladies getting involved with the sport as our guys all run down the beach into their Thundercats, kickstart or ripstart these little boats. Away go the guys we were just talking about, line 7. This is Ross Munro's pride and joy in line 7. Out to the big surf they go. PCI Electrical, as you can see, a little bit of wind makes all the difference. PCI Electrical, take them out there now. And Tony, these guys have been around for quite a long time.
Yeah, what you're looking at here, these front boats that get round that B-buoy first, they've got clean lines, they can race around, they can pick their line, whereas the boats behind them, they've got to change different lines, trying to get clean water, and often they're going a lot longer around the course than the front boats.
Paul Collins from Waikato Finance. On the inside of him, though, would be Scott Electrical Power Base as they head out there in second place. This guy making a welcome return after a 7-year hiatus from the sport. Back they come. Line 7 tucked in behind them, though, and right across in front of them, the PCI Electrical boat. Down to the Whiskey Boy they come. Rough Riders gets a good run on the outsiders. Line 7 gets a flyer. Rough Riders looks like he came to grief. Up into the soft spot they come again. Waikato Finance take them up the back straight away as what could be considered great weather for sailing, Tony.
Yeah, the other advantage from these guys being out in front, of course, is you see a tricky little wave happening around the chicanes, around the bottom buoys. These guys, of course, can pick their timing on the waves, whereas the boats behind often don't have that luxury.
So Scott Power Base there, as you can see, just tripping a little bit up towards the left-hand sponson. PCI Electrical sneaking through on the inside. One mistake and it's all over Rover. Down the side chute they come. Line 7 sitting there in third place at the present as they come down into the shallow water, just putting the squeeze play on Scott Electrical. Is out into the big stuff they pour once again. Waikato Finance it is, leading them round there, and these guys, well, they're pretty used to this sort of conditions, Tony.
Yeah, these guys have been one of the top boats for a while, and once again, clinical start puts them out in front. So back here in the back of the field, you see boats like Rough Rider in their first season we talked about before. They're in there mixing it up, trying to get some clean water, get out in front with some of the others.
Putting the pressure on line 7, and maybe just a little bit too much for the new rookies, the new kids on the block, the high school kids, as they go over. Look how easy it is to right this little Thundercat, though. Great value for money there. As the boat comes back over, they get ready to race once again without line 7, quite obviously, in this heat. Waikato Finance, Paul Collins takes them round. The green flag drops. Into the shallow water they come. Out of the shallow water now and up towards that ever-important B-boy. Collins, well, he's been around for a long time. Rumoured to be his last season in the sport, but who would know with this guy? Into the back straight away they go. Just a little bit of a Valencia swell going on there as they come down the back straight away and in towards the shallow water once again. Still looking for the white flag. PCI Electrical sitting there in second place. Into the white ferry stuff. Out of it this time. Across the waves as they start to build up. Scott Power Base back there in third place. Then quite a long way back we go to the rest of the field. These two at the head of the field, Tony. Well, they've got a good battle on their hands.
Yeah, two fast boats here set up for flat water. PCI having to chop and change their line to get around Waikato Finance there. Waikato Finance did extremely well on the restart Indian File where the pressure is on the front boat. They're the only boat that really can go backwards and lose their position.
So they've got it all together at the moment. No taking it away for them as they turn and head for home up into the shallow water and drive that boat straight up onto the beach. They'll take out first place for sure. PCI Electrical will be across there in second as we go once again to the Fusion leaderboard. Waikato Finance, PCI Electrical, Scott Power Base, Rough Rider and Tahiti Dark to round it out.
Well, that was awesome. Nice to be in the front the whole race and just get a win and have a good lead under our belt.
How are you feeling for the rest of your placing?
We're pretty confident. We've got a fast setup, so I think we're going to do quite well.
No time for the suntan girls as out go the blokes once again. Jungle Coffee and Tony Vercauteren rejoining in More FM. On the inside of them, Steve and Steve for Plumquick as they get cut off by Lasermark the printers. More FM though, head out there in first place on the outside of them. Signtech, another rookie team. Jungle Coffee, well, he's been around for a long time, the Jungle Coffee boat. In fact, Glenn Bonanda, boat builder of some esteem in Auckland. Down the side chute they come. Signtech on the outside, Jungle Coffee, Lasermark Limited on the inside of them gets the squeeze play put on. Into the front straight away they come, or down towards the front straight away they come, and it's still Jungle Coffee and Signtech. These guys battling it out. More FM out in front of them though. Jungle Coffee gets a little bit of a wobble on as he cuts across the top of the waves. Toyo Tyres, that's the first time we've seen him. That's Diesel McConnell, a 66-year-old, is pushing, shoving the gully. I can't believe it. Signtech again slams into the side of the Quicken Bit Defender boat. Up into the top slop they go, and it's still the Quicken boat that's holding those guys out. More FM in first place. You can see the hand wave there to the camera crew and the helicopter above the More FM team. Tony Vercauteren, these guys in Aaron Fifield, they love being out in front. So More FM it is, heads them up. Into the beach they come once again and into the shallow water as he sets himself up for the run up the beach. Over the front he goes, and that gentleman's dawdle again. Look at that, swing the arms. I'm there in first place again. again, he says. Glen Bernand, Jungle Coffee in second. Then a long way back we go to Plum Quick in third as we go back to the Fusion leaderboard. More FM at the head. Jungle Coffee, Plum Quick, Quicken, and Diesel McConnell, a 66-year-old in Toyo tyres.
Tony got a fantastic start and they just set us up, and after that, yeah, it's pretty much plain sailing basically.
Wicked, you're out in front the whole time.
Yeah, oh, it's brilliant. Yeah, enough time to have a look at the helicopter and stuff like that. Oh, it's pretty cruisy, but once we start getting some of the other boats into the races, then it starts getting a little bit more of a tussle.
You're going to have to pick up your pace.
Definitely.
And pick up the pace they did as Reaction Screen Print heads up the field with 200 points. Fujitsu 180, Waikato Finance, More FM and Plum Quicken 5.
It's been a pretty exciting day, pretty full on. We're down to the last 20, aren't we, Tony?
Certainly are. The 20 boats that remain standing. It's been, hey, the weather's been really turned on for us. We started off with pristine conditions out at sea. It's certainly mixing it up a bit now, and I think things are going to get a little bit rougher. But, you know, the top dogs are still there, so they've certainly got a chance. They're going to be fighting for the all-important grid positions. Anything can happen in a race out there in Thundercat racing.
So welcome back to the fabulous sunshine and golden sands of Matarangi as we go to the leaderboard and see exactly what's happened in the past. Reaction Screen Print headed up in first place, Fujitsu 2, Waikato Finance 3, More FM sitting comfortable in 4 and Plum Quick in 5. Exactly the same track as last week with the W boy in the middle and 6 laps for each heat as we go down onto the beach with Tony Vercautrin and the lovely Micaiah at the start of the race.
Here we are at the start line. Can you explain a bit about how it all works?
Okay, well let's walk through it, Micaiah. What happens, you can see the boats are ready to race out here to sea, right? The drivers from pole 1 actually run further than the guy out in pole 8. So let's walk through it and see the different sort of angles they come from.
Okay, cool.
Switches up. Look through the course here. You can see the drivers have to have the key in the air, ready to race.
Yep.
Okay, and they're off now. Okay, so the one that will get there quickest to the boat gets the clean start.
Yeah.
Okay, this guy's got further to run, but he's got the closest buoy too. So Reaction Screen Print have got a good start there in pole 3, and they're off. Plum Quick, who had pole 1, good start, really stuffed that one up. There's no two ways about that
they mucked around there.
See, he's got the quicker course to go around. That's why he's got a longer run. Okay, whereas the guy outside, he's got further to go around. He starts closer to his boat.
So Reaction Screen Print once again turns the afterburner on. As you can see from these shots from Waikato Finance, they're out in front by a good 25 metres. Out they go down the side chute in towards the lovely golden sands here at this beautiful beach. Round the bottom corner they come. Reaction Screen Print, well as nothing can haul these guys in at present. They've really got it battling out there for them. On the outside of them it would be Waikato Finance still, as you can see. The prop just chopping through the water, scything through that flat water here as Waikato Finance try to pull them in. Back in behind them, Tahiti Dark. Then we go to the More FM. Back in behind them, Diesel McConnell and Toyo tyres. Down on from the chopper we come to Reaction Screen Print, and once again you can see great shots as they come down in towards the beach. Big Brett McConnell, a cow puncher from Tuakau. Rounding the Super Dockets buoy they go. Down in towards the beach once again. This will make it 3, and still 3 to go as they head out towards the Whiskey Boy. You're riding in a Thundercat at the way it should be driven by probably the world's best, Brett McConnell. Down into the beach he comes. On the outside of him, still Waikato Finance, can't do anything about it as Reaction Screen Print rounding that bottom mark again and heading into the shallow water. Back and behind them, a long way back, we go to Tahiti Dark. Then the boys from Hydrolink Racing on the inside of them. Looks to me like the Plum Quick boat as Reaction Screen Print holds onto it on the left-hand side of your screen, back with the chopper shot, down on top of them, riding with Reaction Screen Print. This is what it's like in the Thundercat and flat water. Wait till we hit the west coast and the big surf. It's a whole different ball game then. Waikato Finance down the outside, still trying to pull in the Reaction Screen Print boat.
Look how shallow it is here, it's just crazy.
Yeah, these boats can really race. Well, hey, bit of a splash time there, but these boats really can get close to the ground. Watch the boys go, watch they go around the buoy here. See the little wave coming here? That might trick some of these guys up as they come around here. Look, right as it crashes through there.
Yeah,
down he goes, he's got to get that
jump it
timing
again,
right.
yeah. So is it quite possible that if you did see a wave coming, it would be prudent to slow down a bit?
Exactly. Sometimes the more intelligent drivers slow down as they're coming in, let the wave crash. Because if they hit that at the wrong time, they actually go over the wave twice. They come in short,
so they're wasting
and they've got to go back
time.
through there, and then you can really get caught out.
So back into the surf we go, and hello, positions changing, Tony.
Yeah, Reaction Screen Print, they opened the door there. What you saw exactly what we're talking about, where that wave crashes through. Reaction Screen Print were forced to take it twice, once in and once out. Waikato Finance missed it altogether and cleanly came through.
Well, that's cost Reaction Screen Print dearly as Waikato Finance, well, they're running away with it now. Does this happen all that often, Tony?
Not at all. I mean, Reaction Screen Print to lose a lead like that, that's very unusual. But hey, those waves come in, and as small as they are, they can trick things up so that these boats make mistakes.
Well, it's happened there as Paul Collins, and Waikato Finance rounds that W buoy down towards A buoy once again in the shallow water, up onto the beach, and the run down to the finish line, the Fusion finish line. I'll tell you what, Reaction will get it. I can't believe it, Tony. Reaction will take the win. Waikato Finance will be across the line there just by a hair in second place as we go to the leaderboard once again. Reaction Screen Print get the win, Waikato Finance in 2, then Tahiti Dark, Plum Quick in 4 and Safari Print driving the More FM boat will be there in 5th place.
Oh, that little 56 kilo cobalt, man, he got those little chicken legs going and he got there, it was awesome,
He just pipped them at the post. That goes to show that Thundercat racing isn't over till you hit the sand,
Oh, yeah, man, that was a good scrap, hey?
Mate, I made him work for it, he earned it, he won it up the beach, mate. It ain't over till the fat lady crosses the line.
Okay, these little puppies, the motor, very crucial part of things, Mackay.
Won't be going far without that.
50 horsepower, 3-cylinder, 2-stroke.
Okay, and what brand are these ones?
2 that we race with in New Zealand, Yamaha and Daihatsu.
Do you have to regulate these? Like, do they have to go through any testing or anything?
Absolutely. We race standard class here in New Zealand, so we make sure that it's fair racing for all boats. We measure all the parts prior to racing.
Yeah.
They're resealed and sealed for the season, so we know what's going on in there. Okay, Mackay, another important part of Thundercat racing, the actual propellers, drives the boat forward. Here we have 2 different propellers, different conditions.
They look very similar.
They do, I guess, to the naked eye, but believe me, the work that's gone into these to be different. Some props are needed for that quick takeoff and surf, to grip, to get through the surf and to take off quickly, and then at the other end of speed, top end speed on a flatter day. So these props are made for those conditions. So that just slides on there. We then obviously secure that on. This prop guard goes around the prop, and that's there for safety, obvious reasons. You've seen the boats, they crash into each other regularly, hit races regularly, so just foolhardy to race without that sort of thing.
It would slow the boat down a bit though.
Absolutely, you probably do about 10 k's an hour in performance speeding, but hey,
safety first.
I wouldn't want that whizzing around my head.
Yeah. Hey guys, how's it going? Oh, it's doing alright, yeah.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Yeah,
beautiful.
Not too bad, I'm loving it from where I'm standing here as they go down the beach again. The young guys in line 7 hooked up and hauling as they fire that Yamaha up. Off onto the start they go, Fujitsu heat pumps. Well, they got the whole shot and they've hit the flat water, Tony.
Yeah, look, these guys have obviously been putting the training in. They're getting good starts all day long, and that's fantastic to see. The other important thing is here, even though we see clean lines here, these guys have got to go around the buoys and not touch onto the buoys. You start hitting buoys in these boats, you lose points, so you just go backwards. So it may seem easy in the sort of lines they're doing, but no matter where you are on this course, you've really got to race clean lines.
Well, Fujitsu, they're pumped up and hauling back in behind them, Jungle Coffee. Then we go to Rough Riders on the outside of them, Signtech. Signtech dropping off the program just a little bit as they rounded that corner, Tony.
Yeah, so good aggressive driving there once again from another rookie crew in Rough Rider. They really took that aggressively. They had the right to turn where they did on the inside of Signtech, and they took it really well. So there's Jungle Coffee splitting two rookie crews and racing really well.
Well, the spaceship's aptly named as they come round the corner too, Tony. I checked those out on the way over here. They're a great little house bus as well.
Definitely a New Zealand invention by the guys racing these boats, and they're proving they can race on the water as well.
So getting the job done as they come up into the shallow water on the beach. Fujitsu heat pumps, they get the job done at present. Then in behind them we go to Rough Riders. And as I said, Fujitsu across in first place, Rough Rider in second, then Jungle Coffee, Signtech in 4, and Finder in 5.
Close one there, eh?
Yeah, we got stuck behind an overlapper and kind of held us up a bit, but we got past him, managed to take it out.
So into race 9 we go in the Super Dockets Fusion Series, and away they go down the beach. PCI Electrical, they get the whole shot up alongside them. Lasermark, them More FM. Hey, where are they going? They take a swift turn over to the right, a swift hook. Tony Vercautrin not racing with the brain in gear this time round. Up towards the A-boy they go. Yokohama round at first, then on the inside of them, More FM, as they've gathered it all up together now and start to pull in the rest of the field. As you can see from the whitewash out in front of More FM, there is a boat out in front, and that would be PCI Electrical. They're the ones that got the whole shot. Down into the shallow water they come. Yokohama getting a little bit of a hose down there. Then we go back to Scott Powerbase, CSI. Then in behind them, zcoffee.com. On the outside we go to Laser Markers. Up towards a Whiskey Boy they go. Up onto the shallow water now. The race is run. PCI Electrical looks over his shoulder, so just a short one there. PCI Electrical. Then we go back to More FM at the moment. Yokohama coming up onto the beach. They're keeping them honest. It's going to be down to the run up the beach. More FM, they take the dive, the face plant, but they still hold on to second place. Then back in behind him we go to Yokohama. If he'd have been a little bit quicker, he would have got it. As back into the Fusion leaderboard we go, PCI Electrical on maximum points, More FM in second, Yokohama 3, Scott Powerbase 4, and CSI Electrical rounded off in 5. So overall in the Fusion Summer Thunder Series, Reaction Screen Print hit it up in first place, Fujitsu 2, Waikato Finance 3rd, More FM, and then PCI Electrical in 5th.
Hey guys, how's your day going?
Oh, it's fantastic. The weather is awesome and the boats are so cool.
Profiling Jungle Coffee, raced by Glenn Bernand and Greg Norman. They've been around a while now, and they're one of the longest standing crews out there. You know when they're behind you, you're racing well. They're in front of you, you've got a hard job in front of you to get past them. They're probably a better performed boat and surf, but they'll be putting an honest day's work in here today.
Race 10 at Matarangi, rock and roll as More FM clambers over the side of his boat. They get the whole shot. CSI Electrical on the outside of them. Then we go to Plum Quick. Jungle Coffee are up there as well. Back a little bit further we go to Signtech. So up towards the Super Dockets, a buoy they come, and it's More FM that take them round. Well, 4 boats wide. More FM, they're certainly game in this one. Hooked up and hauling all the way up the back straight away. But as Tony said a few minutes ago, here comes Jungle Coffee behind them, keeping it hard and keeping it honest. Signtech, they're hooked up and hauling as well as they come up underneath CSI, looking for the inside running round that buoy. Down towards the shallow water and out towards the W-Boy, More FM. Just look at the experienced crew work of them, the perfectionists in More FM. Jungle Coffee head out there once again. Great shots of Vercautrin's co-pilot as he flies over the front of the boat, hauling the bow down into the water so they can get maximum pressure on that propeller. Up towards the beach they come, and More FM, well, they slew sideways there, trying to toss the co-pilot out to give him a little bit of a head start with the run up the beach. They'll take out first place. Then we go to Jungle Coffee in second, and to the Fusion Summer Thunder leaderboard, More FM taking out maximum points. In second place would be Jungle Coffee. Third goes to CSI. Then we go to Signtech in fourth, and showing up on the leaderboard for the first time would be ProTech in fifth.
You're trying to increase my skills somewhat, so I don't, give me the sideways exit. Could look pretty messy.
been a little bit windy, but I don't think it's bothering that many people. I think they're here to see the boats. Our boat's doing really well, Fujitsu heat pumps and Pepic's boat. So we're looking forward to the final.
And so to race 11 at Matarangi, down goes the green flag and off goes the ever-present Brett McConnell once again in the reaction screen print boat. This guy is hard to haul back in when he's out there in first place as he is at the moment. Round the first buoy they go and up into the back straight, Tony. This guy's got it all together once again.
Yeah, once again, Derek, locked and loaded, both front boats, reaction screen print and Fujitsu. They've been doing it all day long. And so they're staying out this washing machine that we see behind us here, the sort of thing where plumb quick, they're holding up other boats, there's fighting going on all over the place. These front two boats, Fujitsu and reaction screen print, as long as all day long they keep tidy around those chicanes, they should stay out in front and do well in this race.
Well, I don't know what's going on, Tony, because the wind is still the same, the water's not all that rough, these guys aren't driving with their brains.
Yeah, there's a bit of tidal change going on there, and it's certainly becoming tricky around that chicane area, as we see once again reaction screen print coming in for a first.
Up onto the beach they come, Fujitsu heat pumps up there with an awful long run in second place at the moment. Then quite a long way back we go to the Tahiti dark boat. Hey, give this guy a nip and a tuck, he'll be right as we go into the Fusion Summer Thunder leaderboard. Reaction screen print taking our maximum. Fujitsu 2, Tahiti dark 3, Plum Quick in 4 and Yokohama rounded out in 5th.
We had to choose our lines a little bit more carefully, but we had a lot of pressure behind us the whole time, so yeah, we earned that one well and truly.
Okay, the PCI crew of Matt Coyne and Perrin Riley, they've been around a few years now, so they've made the mistakes that probably given them the experience that this year they really need to pull some results through. These are their conditions, flat water events where they've got good boat speed. They're a hard boat to beat if they get away off the mark pretty quickly.
So into the last heat before the final now. Heat 12 of the Super Dockets Fusion Bit Defender Series at Matarangi. Down goes the flag and off into the water they go. More FM on the outside. Now this is unusual, the now Courier's boat PCI electrical, but Tony Vercauteren, there's something different about this More FM boat.
Yeah, this is the old blue More FM boat. This being raced today by Safari Print. The young guys in that boat, they've had problems with their own boat, but they've stepped up and using this boat and picking up some points.
This is your old Caesar hull from last year, and it's still looking pretty good from here. The Scott Electrical boat on the inside of them, but just out in front, well, positions changing. PCI Electrical are having a whale of a time, but the More FM boat, well, Tony, what can you tell us about these Caesar hulls?
Well, the interesting thing is, Derek, in this sort of racing, you know, you can pick up second-hand boats for under 10 grand, get yourself into this sport, and the sport's really crying out, as you mentioned earlier on, for some female competitors.
So for under 10 grand you can pick up a Caesar hull or the Aquarius hull, as we see the Waikato Finance boat come up onto the shore now at the end of their race. Up onto the beach, Rough Riders on the inside. Once again it's down to the run up the beach, and Rough Riders, they'll take it across the line. Incredible! So into the Fusion leaderboard, Rough Riders with the win, Waikato Finance in 2, Safari Print in the More FM boat in 3rd, then PCI Electrical and Scott Power Base to round it out.
The swell's picked up and stuff, which has been good. It works in our favour a lot. We probably won't be able to make the final because we lost all our points in the first race where we flipped, but that's how it goes.
And so to the Fusion overall standings, Reaction, Screen Print, Fujitsu, More FM, Waikato Finance and PCI Electrical to round out the top 5.
So here we are, back at Matarangi for the finals of the Fusion Summer Thunder.
The top 10 boats are there, and you've got the heavy hitters, Reaction, Fujitsu, More FM, Waikato Finance, that have been consistent today. They've been the good starters, getting out there, winning most of the races.
I guess it's getting a bit more challenging out there as the conditions are picking up.
Absolutely. Up till now, it's been mainly about starting, high skill level to get in there quickly. But, you know, we're going to test some other skills out there now, and anyone can mix it up.
So Tony Vercauteren with obvious problems. It was later revealed that he had twisted the crankshaft of the More FM boat. Don't ask me how you do it, but we go into the final now. For the final of the day, away they go. Matarangi, the final here, and away goes Fujitsu heat pumps once again. These guys are smoking. Rough Riders, they're up there at the moment as well, and these guys have had an awful struggle throughout the day to make it, but they've made it to the final as Reaction Screen Print pushes through the field once again on the outside of them. Waikato Finance, so great shots as we ride with Reaction Screen Print. Big Brett McConnell, the Tuakau cowpuncher. Rough Riders on the outside, pushing away at the moment though. Look at this as they hit the back straight away. Swell starting to build up now. In behind them, Jungle Coffee. Rough Riders round the outside boy now. Jungle Coffee in behind them as Reaction Screen Print starting to drift back through the field on the outside plumb quick. But check out Rough Riders. These guys are smoking. Round the bottom mark they come. Out towards the rough stuff again as they're joined by a few of the launches from Matarangi. Rough Riders ploughing on through the rough stuff. Over the tops they go, hooking into the corner there. Jungle Coffee can't do anything about it. They sneak through on the inside of Waikato Finance. Down into the shallow stuff again, and it's still Rough Riders that lead them through. Round the Super Dockets boy, Rough Riders takes them as we ride with Waikato Finance. Down into the side street they come. Jungle Coffee, Waikato Finance. Back we go to Z Coffee, then a little bit further back we go to Waikato Finance still there. Yokohama Tyres and Plum Quick. Reaction Screen Print, what's happened to them? More FM, they've just pulled out of the race altogether. So that bad luck for Tony Vercoutrin just keeps on rocking ever since he took that knock earlier on in the series. Rough Riders though, these guys have come from nowhere as Waikato Finance tries to get on the inside of Jungle Coffee, and they make it stick this time round. Down towards the beach they come with what surf there is behind them, but Rough Riders, these guys have got it all together in the final lap. Look at this as they come round that top buoy. Rough Riders out in first place, and More FM, well, all they can do is run round for points at the moment. The same with Reaction Screen Print, we haven't seen them for a long time. So Rough Riders starting to lap some of the slower boats as in comes Waikato Finance, trying desperately hard to get on the tail, get underneath the rooster tail and get that all-important inside running as they come round that top Super Dockets buoy. In past the back straight away they go. Down into the beach once again. Rough Riders, well, you could say these guys aren't rough anymore. These are the tough kids on the block that have made good. Round that bottom mark they come again. Rough Riders, then the experienced crew of Waikato Finance. Paul Collins, what can you say? Absolutely nothing as he looks ahead, looks over his shoulder once again to see who's behind him. It's all Rough Riders. These guys, well, this is their first ever national final and they're on the way to winning it at present. Some big boys out there have really missed out. They've really struck it hard. Tony Vercoutrin in the More FM boat, then Reaction Screen Print. They're missing in action as well. A very poor race by their own standards. Rough Riders though, Plum Quick goes round as Plum Quick in front of Reaction Screen Print. Now you can see them. You can see how far back they've drifted. Anything can happen in Thundercat racing, just goes to show it's not just the big boys, it's the young guys as well as Rough Riders. Well, they just keep on getting better. Rough Riders up towards the Whiskey Boy. Round in the Whiskey Boy this time. Now down towards the beach. Still no sign of the hand. Yes, up they come. Up onto the shallow water. Rough Riders. 10 metres to go. Will they do it? Rough Riders will take out their first ever Grand National win. Waikato Finance will come across the line in second place. Who's it going to be for third? So into the Fusion Summer Thunder leaderboard we go. Rough Riders in 1, Waikato Finance in 2, Jungle Coffee 3, Plum Quick 4, and Reaction Screen Print rounded off in 5th.
Yeah, we were surprised to even get in the final, but obviously with our good races after our flip, we got in and the wind picked up and it's got real rough, so it's good for us. And we're rough riding and loving the surf.
So that's it for us here today at Matarangi, and don't forget to tune in next week for another exciting day of racing at Lyell Bay in Wellington.
To finish off this week, we thought we would throw in a little bit more karting. This is the 2008 Karting Challenge from Rosebank Road, and it's the Formula Junior race.
I won't be ignored. Time won't Well, this is the Total Span City of Sales 2-day challenge, and this is the 8th and final heat of the Turbo Raceware Formula Junior class. And a one to watch for number 61, starting off the second row, but he's got a great start, and it's Declan Hull. And I think he's going to lead them going into turn number 1. Let's have a look at it. Yes, it looks like it. In beside him, kart number 91, and that is Kyle George. So as I said, this is the 8th and final heat. After this, we'll be toting up all the points and deciding who is the Total Span City of Sales 2-day challenge winner. And like so many forms of motor racing, in karting here at the Pellet Company Raceway, you can drop your worst performance. It's not going to bother too much Declan Hull because he's never finished outside of 3rd place in all his heats, so he's got a pretty good points margin at the moment. 91 through in 2nd place, Kyle George giving him a bit of heat as they come out of turn number 3 here, the 650-metre course at Avondale in Auckland. And these are the Formula Juniors. Now they're for drivers aged between 12 and 17 years of age. And the minimum weight all up with the driver is 140 kilograms, so you've got to be a bit of a lightweight. Maybe in body shape, but not in talent. This guy's certainly showing plenty of that. Declan Hull, been racing for 4 years. Started off in cadets like so many of these drivers did. What a proving ground it is. 91, Kyle George in 2nd place. And then it was number 53 by the look of it, and that was Matt Hollier. I think it might be number 52 up there. And that is Michael Pikelet. So he's up into 3rd place now. We focus on that battle, 2nd and 3rd, number 91 there. Kyle George, race leader, already starting to put a distance between the rest of them now as he comes past the flag position. And into turn number 1 once again. There is George in 2nd place, Pikelet through in 3rd. And the real battle at the moment, 52 and 53. Matt Hollier in it as well. And it's a CRG kart at the front of the field, and that is Declan Hull. And he is starting to just gap 2nd and 3rd now as we watch this enthralling battle. And there's been a change because 91 goes back into 3rd place. That's Kyle George, and that means that number 53 now moves up into 2nd, and that's Matt Hollier. But I've spoken too soon because it goes back the other way. And in fact, it was Michael Pikelet battling with George, and they are wheel to wheel as they head down and try and chase down Declan Hull. Oh, this ain't over yet. There's plenty of racing still to come. Hull's got a good advantage. Looking behind him now, he's a worried man. Is Kyle George. That's him in 2nd place. Then it's number 52 in 3rd, Michael Pikelet. Then Matt Hollier, number 53 in 4th. And once again, the positions are reversed because Pikelet's moved through into 2nd place. These machines powered by 100cc piston port engines to a CIK homologated rule set up, if you like. They run all homologated parts, exhaust parts, airbox, you name it. And it makes the racing so close, and that's what we're seeing at the moment as we watch this enthralling battle further down through the field. Number 35, Michael Bird, 6th and 7th place at the moment. 52, he's up in 2nd. That's Michael Pikelet. Just behind him, it's number 91. In fact, it's changed again, I think. Now it's number 76, and that's Scott Reddish. So he's come from way back in the pack to be in contention for this now. 53 there, Hollier just sitting off the back of this group. There is number 61, that's Declan Hull. 91, George still in 2nd place. Then it's Reddish, then it is Pikelet. And these four starting to get away just a little bit as the laps wind down here. This is the 8th and final heat of the Total Span City of Sales 2-day challenge for Formula Junior. And number 61, a little bit of a lock-up as he comes into turn number 1 here. This is Declan Hull. 4 years of experience under the helmet, started in cadets. He's going to win this one because he's got a huge advantage by karting standards. The battle isn't over for 2nd, 3rd and 4th though. Kyle George sits there at the moment, then it's Scott Reddish, then it's Pikelet, and then it'll be Michael Bird. And Bird's another one that comes from deep in the pack. There is the man in 2nd place. He's been that way for pretty near all the race, but he continues to look round. He's a little bit worried about what's going on behind him. He should probably be concentrating on what's going on ahead of him, because ahead of him is this man, Declan Hull, in the CRG kart, 91. Then it is 76, and that is Scott Reddish. Then it's number 52, Michael Pikelet. And then behind him, Matthew Bird. 1 lap to go, the white flag out here at the Pellet Company Raceway, and Declan Hull is comfortable. But you wouldn't want to put a bet on who's going to finish second or third. Will it be Kyle George? Will it be Scott Reddish? Here is the man that's going to win it, though. Down the front straight he comes once again. Look at this enthralling battle for second. Kyle George is in it. Reddish is in it. So too is Pikelet. Nothing between them. Couple of corners to go for Declan Hull, and he will get the win in the 8th and final heat of Formula Junior. In second place it will be Kyle George, but just by the skin of his teeth from Scott Reddish and Michael Pikelet. And in the overall Total Span City of Sales 2-day challenge, it is Declan Hull that wins Formula Junior.
We struggled to find our setup until today, really, like you're saying. Yeah, still getting used to the new tyres and stuff because we haven't run on them yet. But yeah, we seem to find our form later on today.
That's it for this week. See you next week for more Retro Motorsport.
You'd have to say as we're back on board with the circuit here at Pyra. Here's the race leaders. Oh, and there are all sorts of problems.
Oh, big carnage. Oh, straight to the barriers.